buried in drawers, tucked away in dusty coin rolls, and hiding in collections that have been untouched for decades. These Eisenhower dollars are more than just coins. They're silent time capsules holding secrets that could astonish even the most experienced collectors. Today, we're diving deep into the top 3 rarest Eisenhower dollar coins, the ones with tiny minting quirks, misprints, and limited editions so rare that most people don't even realize they exist. These coins have stories etched into their very metal, whispers of history, and the potential to be worth far more than anyone could imagine. Picture this: a single coin, overlooked for years, suddenly revealed to hold immense value, a treasure hidden in plain sight. From subtle design flaws to rare mint marks, each coin we reveal today could turn an ordinary collection into a prized fortune, changing the way you see the coins you've owned all your life. Whether you're a casual collector or a die-hard numismatist, the discoveries we're about to share will leave you questioning every coin you thought was ordinary. Stay with us, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why these Eisenhower dollars aren't just money. They're history, they're rarity, and they're possibly the most valuable coins you've never noticed, until now. The story of the 1971 Eisenhower dollar coin begins at a moment in American history when symbolism, national pride, and monetary change all came together to form a coin unlike anything the United States Mint had produced in decades. The Eisenhower dollar, issued beginning in 1971, was the first circulating $1 coin struck by the United States since the Peace Dollar series ended in 1935, and its arrival marked both a return to large dollar coinage and a tribute to one of the most respected military leaders and presidents in American history, Dwight David Eisenhower. The journey toward the creation of this coin, however, stretches back several years before its release, and understanding its origins requires looking at the economy, the politics, the national mood, and the technological advancements of the late 1960s and early 1970s. After the end of the Peace Dollar series in the mid-1930s, the United States Mint had no immediate plans to produce a new $1 coin. The existing stock of silver dollars, stored in vaults in places like the Treasury Department and Federal Reserve banks, was considered more than sufficient for the needs of commerce. Over time, however, the use of large silver dollars declined, and they became mostly symbolic and ceremonial by the mid-20th century. Fast forward to the 1960s, and the United States found itself experiencing major economic and political shifts. The price of silver was rising globally, and the United States was facing increasing pressure on its silver reserves. The Coinage Act of 1965 eliminated silver from circulating dimes and quarters and reduced it drastically in half dollars. The dollar coin remained untouched, but the government knew a decision had to be made if a future dollar coin were ever to be reintroduced. Then came the passing of President Dwight D. Eisenhower. In March 1969, Eisenhower had been a 5-star general, the supreme commander of the Allied Expeditionary Force in Europe during World War II, and later the 34th President of the United States. His death inspired lawmakers, citizens, and organizations to push for a commemorative national tribute. Many members of Congress felt that a new coin would be the perfect way to honor Eisenhower, especially one that could circulate widely across the nation. His legacy as a military hero, combined with his leadership during the early years of the Cold War, made him a widely respected figure. But the idea of a commemorative coin also had another purpose. NASA and supporters of the Apollo space program were eager to celebrate the incredible achievements of the Apollo 11 moon landing in 1969, and the Eisenhower dollar provided the ideal opportunity to merge these two powerful national symbols. Eisenhower, the leader who oversaw America's early steps into the space age and the triumph of the lunar landing. Congress debated many aspects of the potential new coin. Should it contain silver? Should it be issued only for collectors or also for circulation? The debate stretched over months because the country was dealing with inflation, rising metal prices, and concerns over cost. Finally, in 1970, Congress approved legislation authorizing the production of the Eisenhower dollar. The mint was permitted to produce circulating clad dollars that would not contain silver, as well as special collector versions in mostly silver alloys. This compromise preserved silver for collectors while reducing cost for circulating coins. The result was that the 1971 Eisenhower dollar became both a circulating coin for everyday transactions and a collectible prized by hobbyists. Production of the coin began at two major facilities, the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. Both were responsible for creating the circulating clad Eisenhower dollars made from an outer layer of copper nickel bonded to a pure copper core. Meanwhile, the San Francisco Mint produced special uncirculated and proof versions intended for collectors, many of which contained a 40% silver composition. These silver issues became highly sought after, especially the 1971 S-proof and uncirculated silver coins which remain collectible today. The creation of this coin required modern minting technology because of its size and metal composition. The Eisenhower dollar was the largest coin the mint had struck in decades, measuring 38.1 millimeters in diameter and weighing over 22 grams, which demanded precise machinery and careful quality control. The obverse of the Eisenhower dollar features a portrait of Dwight D. Eisenhower, designed by Frank Gasparro. The chief engraver of the United States Mint, Gasparro, studied photographs of Eisenhower and sought feedback from individuals who had known him personally, striving to create a portrait that felt both dignified and accessible. Gasparro's design shows Eisenhower facing left with his familiar strong profile. The inscriptions include "Liberty, in God we trust," and "The Year of Minting, 1971." The portrait was meant to symbolize strength, calm confidence, and the steady leadership Eisenhower was known for during World War II and his presidency. The reverse of the 1971 Eisenhower dollar is one of the most iconic designs in modern American coinage. It features the Apollo 11 mission insignia created by astronaut Michael Collins. The emblem shows an eagle descending toward the lunar surface, clutching an olive branch, symbolizing peace with Earth rising in the background. This imagery represented humanity's first steps on the moon and the hope that space exploration would lead to peaceful international cooperation. The decision to use the Apollo 11 emblem was significant because it linked Eisenhower's legacy as a military leader and early champion of space development to the nation's most historic scientific achievement. The reverse design helped transform the coin into a miniature monument celebrating both history and innovation. The Eisenhower dollar of 1971 entered circulation at a time when the American economy was changing rapidly. Inflation was rising, and the purchasing power of a dollar was shrinking. Consumers were already accustomed to using paper money rather than large, heavy coins, and banks knew the public was unlikely to embrace a dollar coin in everyday transactions. Despite this challenge, the Treasury hoped that Eisenhower dollars would be popular, especially in Western states, where silver dollars had been used more commonly. Even though most Americans appreciated the tribute to Eisenhower, they found the coins bulky and inconvenient for daily use. As a result, the majority of 1971 Eisenhower dollars eventually ended up stored in banks or collected as souvenirs rather than circulating widely in commerce. Collectors immediately recognized the importance of the 1971 Eisenhower dollar because it represented a brand new series, the first U.S. dollar coin in more than 30 years, and the first to honor a recently deceased president. The coin also existed in multiple varieties, including business strike coins from Philadelphia and Denver, and various proof and uncirculated versions from San Francisco with different compositions. These differences created strong interest among numismatists. Many collectors became fascinated by the variations found in the 1971 issues, including the Eisenhower dollar coin of 1972 stands as one of the most fascinating chapters in modern American numismatics, a coin born from national pride, technological transition, and the evolving demands of commerce in the early 1970s. To understand the story of the 1972 Eisenhower dollar, One must begin with the legacy of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, the end of the Silver Era, and the monumental task faced by the United States Mint when creating the first large-size $1 coin of the modern age. The nation had not seen a circulating dollar coin since the peace dollar ended in 1935, and for decades Americans relied instead on paper currency vending tokens and half-dollar coins. The passing of Eisenhower in 1969, together with the excitement surrounding the Apollo 11 moon landing, inspired Congress to honor both the former president and the achievements in space exploration with a new coin bearing his image and an eagle landing on the lunar surface. The Coinage Act of 1970 authorized the Eisenhower dollar to be struck in both copper-nickel-clad versions for circulation and silver-clad versions for collectors, marking the first time a commemorative design would be issued as a standard circulating coin. The year 1972 became one of the most important and complex years for the Eisenhower dollar series. With no mint mark for Philadelphia issues and a variety of subtle yet critical design differences, the 1972 dollar quickly gained a reputation for having some of the most challenging and interesting varieties in modern American coinage. The Mint was still perfecting the engraving of the Earth behind the landing eagle, and adjustments were made during the year, resulting in 3 major reverse types. Each type captures a moment in the Mint's struggle to balance artistic detail and practical die life. Type 1 featured a low-relief Earth with incorrect geographic placement of the Caribbean. Type 2 had a sharper globe and correct placement, but this version was produced only for a short period, making it extremely rare. Type 3 introduced a refined Earth with clearer continents and became the standard for the remainder of the year. Collectors of the Eisenhower series consider these varieties essential study points, and the 1972 Type 2 reverse is one of the most sought-after clad dollars of the entire decade. As the coin entered circulation, it also became clear that the large size of the Eisenhower dollar was both a strength and a challenge. Weighing over 22 grams and measuring 38 millimeters, the coin was impressive in appearance yet awkward for daily use. Businesses, vending machine operators, and the general public rarely favored heavy coins, and most people chose paper dollars instead. As a result, the 1972 Eisenhower dollars circulated unevenly, with many ending up stored in bank vaults, while others suffered heavy wear in limited regions. Despite these obstacles, the coin remained a symbol of American heritage, merging presidential history with the triumphs of the space program. The depiction of the moon landing on the reverse continued to capture public imagination, reminding Americans of an era of innovation, exploration, and national pride. Behind the scenes, the Mint faced enormous technical challenges throughout the production of the 1972 Eisenhower dollar. The copper-nickel-clad composition was still relatively new and striking. Such a large coin in clad metal created problems involving die-wear, planche quality, and pressure tolerances. Engraver Frank Gasparo worked continuously to refine the details of Eisenhower's portrait, ensuring that it remained recognizable even with the wear of circulation. Meanwhile, adjustments to the reverse designs required the Mint to produce multiple master dies, a rare event in modern coin production. The resulting varieties not only reflect the technical evolution of the year, but also provide a historical record of the Mint's attempts to perfect a national icon. These coins represent both the imperfections and the progress of American numismatic craftsmanship. Collectors today regard the 1972 Eisenhower dollar as a cornerstone of the series thanks to its abundance of varieties, minting complexities, and its representation of a turning point in the history of U.S. coinage. The 1970s marked the end of the large, heavy circulating dollar coin, and the 1972 issues show the tension between national symbolism and practical currency usage. The Philadelphia strikes remain the heart of the variety study, while the Denver and San Francisco issues reflect the Mint's efforts to satisfy both collectors and circulation needs. The silver-clad San Francisco strikes were especially prized by hobbyists for their special finishes and their connection to the commemorative spirit of the program. The legacy of the 1972 Eisenhower dollar extends far beyond its production year. It shaped the future of the American dollar coin, leading toward later experiments such as the smaller Susan B. Anthony and Sacagawea dollars. It also preserved a moment in American history, capturing a hero of World War II and the space race on a single piece of metal. For collectors, storytellers, and historians, the 1972 Eisenhower dollar remains a living timeline of artistry, engineering, politics, and national spirit. Its varieties showcase the human element of coin production. Its circulation, history reveals the habit of an entire generation, and its symbolism connects the leadership of the past with the aspirations of the future. The Eisenhower dollar may not have achieved widespread everyday use, but its impact on American numismatics and historical memory is lasting, powerful, and deeply meaningful. The deeper story of the 1972 Eisenhower dollar begins long before the coin was ever struck, reaching back into the economic and political climate of the United States during the late 1960s, when the nation faced turbulent transitions in currency, metal values, and public trust. The removal of silver from circulating coins in 1965 had shaken long-held traditions, and many Americans felt uncertain about the changing nature of their money. The Eisenhower dollar was introduced at a moment when the country sought stability, familiarity, and symbolic leadership. Dwight D. Eisenhower had been a reassuring figure to millions, both as the Supreme Allied Commander in World War II and later as president guiding the nation through an era of post-war expansion. During his presidency, he expanded the interstate highway system, strengthened national defense, and oversaw tremendous technological advancements, including the birth of NASA. His passing in 1969 created a unified desire to honor him, and when the Apollo 11 mission successfully landed astronauts on the moon. That same year, the connection between Eisenhower's era and the space age became irresistibly clear. As Congress debated the creation of a new dollar coin, lawmakers faced strong disagreements over what the coin should represent and what metals it should contain. Silver-producing states pushed for a return to silver circulating coinage, hoping it would support mining economies, while others preferred the modern copper-nickel-clad composition that had become standard after 1965. Eventually, the compromise was reached. The circulating Eisenhower dollars would be clad with no silver, while special collector issues would be minted in a silver-clad alloy. This decision allowed the coin to honor Eisenhower and the Apollo program while keeping costs low for mass production. The design journey then began with chief engraver Frank Gasparro choosing to portray Eisenhower with dignity, strength, and a calm expression on the obverse, a look meant to reflect both his military leadership and presidential legacy. For the reverse, Gasparro adapted the Apollo 11 mission patch, showing an eagle landing on the moon, symbolizing peace and human achievement. The story of the 1974 Eisenhower dollar coin begins in the period following the end of silver coinage in the United States, when the nation was transitioning into a new era of modern circulating currency. In 1965, the United States Mint removed silver from the dime and quarter and reduced it in the half-dollar due to the rising cost of silver and widespread hoarding during the early 1960s. By the start of the 1970s, there had been no circulating $1 coin since the final peace dollars of 1935, and many policymakers believed a large dollar coin was needed for both symbolic and practical purposes. The country was preparing to honor the memory of Dwight D. Eisenhower, the 34th President of the United States and a hero of World War II who had passed away in 1969. Congress moved rapidly to approve a new coin that would commemorate his legacy and also mark the technological achievements of the Apollo 11 moon landing, which had occurred only months after Eisenhower's death. The reverse design would feature an eagle landing on the moon, inspired by the mission insignia connecting the coin to the excitement of the space age, while the obverse would portray a profile of Eisenhower symbolizing leadership, stability, and national pride. When the Eisenhower dollar series began in 1971, the Mint produced coins in copper-nickel, clad for circulation, and in 40% silver, clad for collectors. By the time the 1974 issue was planned, the series had already become a familiar sight, though it never saw heavy use in everyday commerce because of its large size and weight. Nevertheless, the United States Mint continued production as demand from banks, casinos, and collectors remained steady. The 1974 Eisenhower dollar was struck at 2 mints for circulation, the Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark, and the Denver Mint with the D mint mark, and at the San Francisco Mint for proof coins. Unlike earlier collector versions, the 1974 proofs were made only in copper-nickel rather than silver, since Congress had ended the 40% silver program after 1974 and was preparing to transition fully to base metal coinage. This made the 1974 Ike dollar one of the final issues of the series before design and metal composition policies shifted again in the mid-1970s. The process of designing and preparing the 1974 issue followed the same artistic foundation established in 1971. Frank Gasparro, the chief engraver of the United States Mint, created both the obverse and reverse designs. His portrait of Eisenhower was carefully sculpted to reflect the former president's strong features and calm demeanor, balancing realism with the requirements of mass coinage production. The reverse continued the powerful bald eagle landing on the lunar surface, holding an olive branch to symbolize peace coming from strength. This imagery connected American military achievement through Eisenhower with the peaceful exploration of space achieved by NASA. The symbolism resonated with national optimism during a period otherwise marked by economic concerns, inflation, and political tension. The year 1974 itself was significant in United States history, and this context becomes part of the background of the coin. America faced political turmoil surrounding the Watergate investigation and economic shifts, including rising energy costs. Despite these uncertainties, the Eisenhower dollar served as a reminder of national unity and the legacy of a respected leader. Many collectors today see the 1974 Ike dollar not only as a numismatic item, but also as a historical marker representing the final years before dramatic political changes in 1975 and beyond. The large size of the coin made it ideal for vending machines, casinos, military bases, and postal services, which continued to use the Eisenhower dollar heavily even when the general public preferred smaller paper money. The Philadelphia Mint produced millions of 1974 Eisenhower dollars, but none of them carried a mint mark. These coins circulated widely across the country, though many were saved by collectors in uncirculated condition. The Denver Mint produced even more coins marked with the D mint mark, and these tended to have sharper strikes due to improved equipment used in Denver at the time. The San Francisco Mint produced the 1974 S-proof Eisenhower dollars intended purely for collectors and sold in special packaging through the annual proof set program. These proofs were struck with polished dies and mirrored fields, showcasing the full detail of Gasparro's artwork. The 1974 proofs are known for their clean surfaces and cameo contrast, which makes them visually striking compared to circulation strikes. Another interesting part of the 1974 Eisenhower dollar story is its relationship to the changes coming just around the corner. In 1975, the Mint would stop producing regular dated Eisenhower dollars because of the special bicentennial coinage program. For 2 years, all quarters, half dollars, and dollars carried the dual date 1776-1976 and featured completely new reverse designs. This means the 1974 Eisenhower dollar became the last regular issue coin of the series before the nation shifted its focus to bicentennial celebration. Because of this transitional role, The 1974 issue is sometimes called the final classic Ike dollar by collectors, since no standard business strike would bear the 1975 date. In circulation, the 1974 Ike dollar experienced moderate use, although many Americans found the coin bulky and inconvenient. Paper $1 bills continued to dominate everyday transactions, partly because the public had grown accustomed to them for generations. Still, the Eisenhower dollar was widely used in specific industries, such as amusement parks, transit systems, and, of course, casinos, where the heavy metal dollar remained popular until the adoption of token systems and later digital gaming. The coins, to deepen the history surrounding the so-called 1975 Eisenhower dollar, it is important to explore how the Eisenhower series fit into the larger narrative of American coin production, government priorities, and cultural identity in the mid-20th century. The story stretches far beyond coinage itself, connecting to technological advances, political symbolism, and the evolution of national memory. The foundation of the Eisenhower dollar can be traced back to the public admiration for President Dwight D. Eisenhower, who served both as Supreme Allied Commander during the Second World War and later as the 34th President of the United States. His passing in 1969 sparked a nationwide desire to honor him, and at the same time, the Apollo 11 moon landing had captured global attention with dramatic images of American astronauts walking on the lunar surface. Congress saw an opportunity to link these two defining moments of American pride within a... Still, the Eisenhower dollar remained appreciated for its honoring of a beloved president. Eisenhower's legacy as a military hero and statesman cast a long shadow over mid-century American history. His leadership during the D-Day invasion, his guidance as president through early Cold War tensions, and his role in launching the interstate highway system all contributed to a public image of strength, competence, and American values. The decision to feature his portrait on the dollar,